What's going on, everyone? For a majority of teams, today was the beginning to their NBA season, their NBA journey, their quest to either tank for victor, go for an NBA championship. And there was a couple interesting takeaways that I wanted to go over and just kind of give my thoughts and opinions on some of the teams today. Of course, got to keep in mind it's the first game of the season for a lot of these teams, so you can't judge them too heavily, but just some stuff that I think is interesting to kind of keep in mind going forward. So, again, as always, I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section. But diving into it, Miami, the Miami Heat. Now, I said before the season began that I thought Miami was not going to be very good this year. Now, again, it's one game, but I think the loss of PJ Tucker, I think, really hurts. I think this team still didn't solve its lack of scoring issue. I think that they're not as good defensively as they were last year. I think Jimmy Butler's only getting older. I don't think Miami is a very well-constructed team. I don't think they're very good. And they lose today without Zach LaVine. Now, obviously, they don't have Lonzo Ball either, the Bulls. But still, this was a game that Miami should have probably walked away with, and they probably would have walked away with this last year. But nonetheless, shout-outs to DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan was incredible, 37, 6, and 9 on 14 of 22 shooting, knocking down threes, 2 of 3 from 3, was just everywhere. Had a very solid game from him. Nice collective effort by guys on the Chicago Bulls. But Miami just, again, very lackluster, in my opinion. You had Jimmy Butler with 24. You had Tyler Hero with 23. And then Max Strus with 22. And he was solid, 5 of 7 from 3. But again, they don't have guys that can really score. Kyle Lowry, 35 minutes, 2 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Not going to cut it, not going to get it done. He's not a guy that, he's not the scorer you need, And Tyler Hero, lack of defense really hurts. I just think Bam just, I don't know, he hasn't been the same guy, in my opinion, the last few years. He has games, he has moments, but in general, I don't think I think Miami thinks he's better than he really is. I think he's a great player. I don't think there's anything wrong with him, but I just don't think he's your second option on a contending team. I think he is like your fourth option on a contending team. I think that, if say, the Nets. If the Nets had Bam Adebayo, I think he'd be amazing. But I just think this team doesn't have enough scoring, doesn't have enough grit beyond Jimmy Butler. I think losing PJ Tucker really hurt. I don't think Miami's going to be very good this year. I think they're old. I think they're not very talented, and I think they're going to lose a lot of games. I don't necessarily think that they're going to miss the playoffs or anything, but I don't think they're going to be very good. I really don't. Again, just my thoughts and opinions, and it is just one game. But moving on, the Brooklyn Nets. Same story, different year. Brooklyn got absolutely smacked by the New Orleans Pelicans. And, shout out to the Pelicans. The Pelicans looked solid today. Right? You had McCollum with 21, 4, and 6. Ingram, 28, 7, and 5. And Zion with 25, 9, and 3. Big 3 showed up. Big 3 looked great for the Pelicans. If they play like they did today, they're going to be very solid. The Brooklyn Nets, they can't stop anybody. They can't. And they didn't shoot the ball particularly well. Kyrie put up 15 points. He was 0-6 from 3, 6-19 overall. Kevin Durant was 11-21, put up 32 points. But, Ben Simmons was a 4-5-5 guy tonight. Patty Mills contributed with 16. Royce O'Neal contributed with 10. But they can't stop anybody. Their defense, they don't have defense. They're too reliant on scoring. And I think that this could be the same story that we see night in and night out. Now, I do think that they're really good. I think on paper, they arguably have the best team in the league. But I've always worried about their defense. And if they're not knocking down shots and shooting at an elite level, I don't think this team is going to be able to win many games. It was rough. They got destroyed on the boards, as expected. The Pelicans had 21 offensive rebounds. 21. They out-rebound them 61 to 39. That is insane to me. Insane. They got out-rebound on they had more than half of the Nets' total rebounds in just offensive rebounds. They almost doubled them in total rebounds. You're not winning games that way. Brooklyn, no defense, no rebounding. They're kind of a lot of the same issues as the Lakers, if I'm being honest. I mean, if you really think about it, they have that third star that you have a lot of questions with. They really have a lot of questions on the perimeter. No really solid wing defense. Can't rebound and don't really have size. I mean, who does that sound like to you? And I wouldn't be shocked if the Nets continue this. I'm telling you, if the Nets continue to play this way, I think Kevin Durant asks out. I think Kyrie Irving gets traded. I think by the trade deadline, if the Nets don't figure it out, I think the Nets could be imploding. I really do. I think this team is gonna be a disaster. It's one game. Again, I don't want to overreact too heavily, but this isn't a good sign. They looked like this in preseason outside of one game, and all of the concerns with the Nets team all were very prevalent tonight. All of it really stood out. It all was very glaring. But we'll see. We'll see how they progress, see how they go on. I don't think Kyrie's going to, shoot terrible every night. Kevin Durant, I don't think he's going to miss 10 shots regularly. But still, definitely cause of concerns. Definitely something to keep an eye on. Next up, the Denver Nuggets. So, a lot of people talk about how bad the Lakers were yesterday. I seen a lot of conversations. Obviously, I have the Lakers channel, stuff like that. What do you got to say about the Denver Nuggets? Denver got beat by 21 points to the Utah Jazz. Now, look, I am on the record saying that I think Utah could still be pretty good this year. I don't think they're a contender or anything like that, but I do think I wouldn't be shocked if the Jazz are in contention for a play-in spot. They do have a lot of depth, and they are a very solid team. But this is supposed to be the Denver year, right? Jamal Murray's back. You made some nice acquisitions, right? You got Michael Porter Jr.'s back. This is it. Caldwell Pope, you got Bruce Brown, you got Bones. All these guys this is the year. This is the Denver Nuggets year. And you come out and you lay a big goose egg on a team that just blew it up. I mean, it wasn't a close game. They got smacked. And it was rough. I mean, they lost start to finish. They got outscored by 7 at the end of the first. We're down 20 at halftime. And they got smacked. I mean, that's what it is. They weren't very good. They weren't very good at all. Nobody really, you had Joker 27, 4 and 6, 12 of 17 shooting, not bad. Aaron Gordon gave you 22, but outside of that, Pope, one of your big acquisitions, put up 2 points, 4 rebounds. He did have 6 assists, but in 35 minutes gave you 2 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. Porter gave you, 15, 7, and 1. Not bad. Shot 50% from the field. He was solid. But Jamal Murray, 5 of 13, 12 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. Didn't look good. Did not look good. Utah Jazz played a really good collective game. Everybody was contributing. Everybody was, adding to the lay-on of the Denver Nuggets. This was rough. This was a rough game for the Denver Nuggets. They did not look good at all. Again, one game. Can't get too crazy. But there was a lot of surprising teams today. A lot of surprising teams that you thought would show up and make some noise, and they did not. And Denver was one of those teams that did not. Just a bad loss. It's one thing if they lost in a close game, just a rough night. No, they got ran off the court, ran off the floor. It was bad. It was a rough game for them. But the Grizzlies got to close better. They were looking good. They were looking in control. They were looking in command. And they kind of let it get away from them. The Knicks were able to come back, tie the game, and the Grizzlies were lucky to escape at home. Jalen Brunson, he was all right. 15, 6, and 9. 7 of 18 shooting, not the best. 1 of 4 from 3. I'm still not personally sold on Jalen Brunson for the Knicks. I don't think he's worth all the money that he got. But, I mean, he had a solid showing. Look, 15, 6, and 9, not too bad. Missed 11 shots, though. That's kind of rough. Randall looks solid with 24, 11, and 6. If he can get back to being the Julius Randle from 2 seasons ago, last year he was atrocious. But he was solid. Cam Reddish had a great showing. And they actually gave Cam Reddish some minutes, which was nice, which was surprising. But, for the Grizzlies, Ja looked like Ja, right? 34, 4, and 9. Absolutely solid. You had some key contributions from a little bit of everybody. Everybody was chipping in. It looked like a good game. They were in command most, if not the entire game for the most part. And then, you get in late. They're looking solid. Everything's looking right. And they just kind of were falling apart towards the end. They were up 7 with like 6 minutes left. Looked like they were going to start running away with it. And then all of a sudden you had this just back and forth towards the tail end of the game. Julius Randle made it a 2-point game. Steven Adams extended the lead. And then it was just continued back and forth, back and forth. Hartenstein was solid for that's another guy that should stand out is for the Knicks. Hartenstein, he was solid for them. Hit some key shots down the stretch. Got that big and one. And Cam Reddish comes in, ties the game, sends the game into overtime. And then it was, again, just kind of a back and forth until Ja was able to basically put it away. Right, Tyus Jones hit the 3 to kind of give them the lead, and then they were able to hold on. But Grizzlies got to do a better job of closing out games. That was an issue for them last year, but they're young, they're good, they're talented. Just something. This is a game that they could have easily lost, that they should have won. But lastly, man, the Dallas Mavericks. This was inexcusable. This was disappointing. You're up 22. You're in control. You have the game. You give up like a 13-0 run late in the game. You let, Damian Lee beat you? Essentially. Like, that's basically what happened. I mean, the dude had like 8 points in the fourth quarter. Only scored 11 total. Booker, 28, 4, and 9. Absolutely solid. 18, 10, and 2. Chris Paul was on a restriction, a minutes restriction, and I believe he went over, but he had a rough game at 6, 3, and 9, 1 of 6 from the field. Cam Johnson got hurt. That sucked. And he was looking good for them. He put up 15. But Dallas, Christian Wood, 25, 8, and 2. He had like 16 straight points or something like that. Earlier in the game, was absolutely great for them. He's a guy that I said I really think is going to be a real key acquisition. I think that they need to start him. I do. I think he should start with McGee, and I do think that sooner or later they're going to end up forcing him to start. They're going to end up having to have him start. But Luka, 35, 9, and 6, 2 of 10 from 3. Just not a good 3-point shooting night for Luka. He's got to do better. Got to create better. 10 to 23 is just not going to get it done. It wasn't the best game for him. He did, however, keep turnovers low. Last year he led the league in turnovers. But this game he only had 4, which I know you're probably thinking like 4 turnovers. The guy had the highest usage rate in the league. So that's what comes with it. When you're handling the ball a lot, you're going to turn the ball over a lot. But this was an inexcusable game. It was. There's no other words to it. You're in complete control, running the Suns out of their own building, a team that I personally think is going to implode. I do. I still think Phoenix isn't very good. I think they're like, just like I said with the Heat, I just think that the Suns have too many issues going on. I think they have too many guys that don't want to be there. I think that, they have a lot of just stuff kind of hanging over their heads. I'm not fully bought into the Suns. Now, I do think that they're going to be good. Like, I just don't. I don't think they're going to be the number 1 seed or anything like that. I wouldn't be shocked if they're like the 4th or 5th seed this year, which is still good. I just don't think it's going to be the Phoenix team that everyone thinks they're going to be. But Dallas was kind of proving my point, and then just fell apart. Completely fell apart. Just had absolute control. Looked like they were going to run the Suns out of the building. And, Big Daddy Luka comes in, and they didn't get it done. They just didn't get it done. And it was unfortunate. I mean, they were up 95-83 with just under 7 minutes left. And then it was pretty much all the Suns from there on out. Pretty much all the Suns. It sucks. It was a rough game for Dallas, There's no real excuses, there's no nothing. They just got beat. This was a game that they should have won. Luka's gotta play better than that. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Again, just my kind of thoughts and opinions on kind of what I saw for today's thing. Let me know if you like this kind of rundown. If so, maybe I'll do it daily, something like that. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Let me know, good, bad, ugly, somewhere in between. Let me know what you thought of all these teams. What teams are you excited for? What teams are you worried about? Whatever you think. Let me know.